A blinding snowstorm, a deserted road, and a crash that changes everything. Welcome back to Prose Prism, where we dive into the most gripping stories. Today we're unraveling The Crash by Freida McFadden, a psychological thriller that will leave you questioning who to trust. This isn't just a story of survival, it's a descent into fear and paranoia. Let's get started. Chapter 1. The Accident. The snow was relentless. Thick flakes crashed against Tegan's windshield, blurring the road into a sea of white. 8 months pregnant, exhausted, and desperate to reach safety, she gripped the wheel, her knuckles turning white. The radio crackled warnings of the worsening blizzard, but turning back wasn't an option. She was too far from home, too far from help. Then, it happened. A shadowy figure on the road, tires screeching, her scream echoing as metal twisted and shattered. The world spun, pain exploding through her body before everything went dark. Chapter 2. Waking up in a stranger's home. She awoke to the smell of antiseptic and the faint hum of a heater. Disoriented, Tegan's eyes fluttered open to a dimly lit room, its wooden walls creaking under the weight of the storm outside. Her body ached, her head pounding as she tried to piece together the fractured memories of the crash. A figure emerged, moving slowly toward her. An elderly woman, her face kind but weary, introduced herself as Nancy. Her husband Ron hovered nearby, his eyes cautious, studying Tegan with an intensity that made her shiver. They told her they found her unconscious in the snow, dragged her into their cabin and patched up her wounds. At first, relief flooded through her. She was safe. Her baby was safe. But as the hours stretched on, that relief turned to unease. The couple's smiles were too wide, their words too rehearsed. Every time she asked about a phone or leaving, they deflected, changing the subject with unsettling ease. And then she noticed there were no clocks, no windows that showed the outside, and the door, it was locked. Chapter 3. Realization and Fear. Time lost all meaning. Day and night blurred together as Tegan's unease grew into fear. The food tasted off, drugged even. She began to feel weak, drowsy, unable to stay awake for more than a few minutes at a time. Every attempt to leave was met with gentle but firm resistance. Her desperation mounted as the couple's behavior grew stranger. Nancy would hum lullabies outside her door at night, her voice sickly sweet. Ron would stand at the end of her bed watching her sleep, his face blank, emotionless. Tegan's heart raced with terror. She was a prisoner, trapped by her own weakened body and the kindness that had once seemed so genuine. And then she heard it, muffled cries from somewhere deep within the house. She wasn't alone. Someone else was trapped here. Or worse. Chapter 4. The Escape Attempt. With every ounce of strength she could muster, Tegan plotted her escape. She faked drowsiness, waiting for Ron and Nancy's guard to drop. When they finally left her alone, she dragged herself out of bed, her limbs heavy, uncooperative. Her swollen belly ached, her baby kicking as if urging her to run. The house was a maze of dark hallways and locked doors. Shadows danced on the walls and the wind howled outside. But she pressed on, heart thudding wildly. She found the source of the cries. A basement door, bolted shut. Fear rooted her in place as she realized the truth. She wasn't their first prisoner, and if she didn't escape now, she wouldn't be their last. But just as she unlatched the front door, a hand clamped down on her shoulder, cold and unyielding. Nancy's voice, once warm and maternal, now dripped with venom. "You're not going anywhere." Chapter 5. Unraveling the Truth. Everything Tegan thought she knew shattered. The couple's story was a lie. They weren't good Samaritans. They were predators. Her crash wasn't an accident. It was orchestrated, a trap for the vulnerable. They were collecting lives, broken souls to keep them company in their isolated prison. The cries in the basement, they were real, but they weren't alive. They were echoes, remnants of the ones who came before her. Victims who never escaped. Tegan's horror turned to resolve. She would fight for her life, for her child's life. Chapter 6. The Final Confrontation. The house erupted in chaos. Tegan fought with everything she had, breaking free from Nancy's grip, her body surging with adrenaline. She crashed through the front door, snow and wind blinding her as she stumbled into the storm. But Ron was fast, his heavy footsteps closing in. There was no time to think, only to survive. She ran, slipping on the ice, her breath sharp and shallow. The woods loomed ahead, dark and cold. She plunged into them, branches scratching her skin, the storm swallowing her cries, but she didn't stop. Not until she heard the wail of sirens in the distance. Not until she knew she was free. The Crash by Freida McFadden is a chilling psychological thriller that explores fear, trust, and the fight for survival. It's a story that keeps you guessing until the very end, with twists that leave you breathless. If you enjoy edge-of-your-seat suspense and deeply haunting mysteries, this book is a must-read. Thanks for watching Prose Prism. Don't forget to subscribe for more immersive audiobook summaries. And tell us in the comments, would you trust the kindness of strangers?